everybody, welcome to a sketchbook tour. I want to give a little disclaimer right off the bat. I am not using my microphone. I am recording the audio with the camera because when I use the microphone and I do any sort of movement, it picks up very strange noises. But I wanted to just go ahead and get into it. This sketchbook took me about 8 years to do. This first sheet is, of course, a disaster, as it always goes whenever you start a new sketchbook. I had drawn some roses, or attempted to draw some roses, and then this little face. Then I just used different markers and pencils and stuff. And you can see here it did bleed through, so this paper isn't super thick. This was back in about 2018, I believe. I did a series of witches, and it was a series of 3. And I do have them still, the finished pieces, and I plan on redoing them for the Halloween season. The third witch was inspired by the sorceress from Dragon's Crown. It was a game I played on PlayStation 3 with some friends in college, and I always play the sorceress, so I was inspired by her. If I redesigned her, I would definitely do something different now. At this time, I was more into like angels versus demons. I never really expanded on the nuance between them, if that makes sense. This was a little forest fae I designed. I really like her. I really liked her golden eyes. I thought that was a really nice touch. And you may recognize this. I recently painted this after I did a line art video showing how to transfer line art from like a sketchbook to a watercolor piece of paper and also digital to traditional. And you can find that video here. The funny thing about this was the very first version of my mushroom with the eye, which is now my logo. So this is the very first version of it, and you can see how it's changed. So this was the beginning sketches of a Grim Reaper character I wanted to do. I still haven't finalized her design. I would completely redo her outfit, and I never quite could get it right. I never was happy with it, and the pose was always really odd for me, but now I would reapproach it with a different pose, different outfit. This, I'm just gonna say, is a deer girl. At this time, I was doing art of another, it's a spirit from an indigenous tribe, and I don't want to say the name out of respect. I drew this character originally back in 2017, and she has like the space buns, and she has like pink hair and a tattoo, and I've tried to do the third eye with her. I don't know, but I've never quite gotten the version that I want in my head. This is the more recent version of her. I did her with alcohol markers, and I wasn't quite happy with the tone of her skin. I just think I want to do her in watercolor. Maybe I'll finally be happy with her design. I just really like the character in general. This was a sketch I did when planning out my Poison Ivy costume. I dressed up as Poison Ivy a few times, going to Dragon Con, MomoCon. And this was the first Inktober I participated in. We no longer call it Inktober anymore. It's now just a variety of challenges. I was really happy with how these skulls turned out, and then I took the term Inktober quite literally. I did just like with ballpoint pen, a variety of pens. This was a character design I came up with, and I really like this sketch. When I tried to translate this to a painting, I wasn't happy with it. It sort of looked a bit like a Homestuck character. I'll like the original sketch and not be happy with the painting, which is actually one of the many reasons why I started transferring sketches or digital line art to a bigger painting, because I wanted to stick with the original integrity of the sketch as close as possible, if that makes sense. This is just a more elaborate sketch of the third witch of the witch series I had worked on earlier, and this is a more elaborate design of my Grim Reaper character. Going back, I do like these like tails going down. This is when I was really into the idea of like cordyceps and like the mushroom coming out of the eye. This page, I don't really know what I was going for, just doodles and stuff. Evidently, I'm really into eyes, and I like the idea of this character with like multiple eyes and then this smoke coming out with eyes and the smoke. I don't know. I just thought it was cool. This is a tip for those who are trying to learn anatomy. Always use a reference. If anybody tells you that using a reference is cheating, they are a liar and they're stupid. So that's just my 2 cents. There's no other way about it. You only learn by observing. So this was a warm-up page I did, and I did like it. I didn't use references, obviously. And you can see how my noses all kind of look the same. Now these, I did mostly use references. For these figures, I did references, and I wanted to section the body to break it apart. And this was with a reference. These weren't, but I do like the pose. I drew another butt here. I don't really know what I was doing on this page. Just more doodling ideas. Now this is a character I had worked on for a while, and you will see it many times throughout the sketchbook because I'm trying to come up with an idea that I liked. I had painted this with gouache originally. I wanted to redo it. Funnily enough, this is my favorite sketch of it. This is another mini eyes idea. This was a sketch of a series I was working on. I like the idea of like a mask breaking and revealing the true self underneath. This was when I started using this blue sketch pencil. It is not my favorite. It's very light. You can barely see the mushroom here. But I think I was just too scared to go a little bit, bear down a little bit more with it. This is fleshing out the earlier sketch I mentioned. And at this point, it starts getting more not my style. And this is kind of lost in here with all the scribbles, but I like this pose. And this was a warm-up spread. And I'm revisiting that idea once again. I don't know if I'll even ever paint it again. I've sketched it so many times, and I've come up with so many different ideas for it. It's the same idea, but different variations. I think I'm just over it, and I don't want to. I just want to leave it in the past, but I don't know. What do y'all think? Do you think I should revisit it once more and paint it again? Or if I should just leave it behind? This idea, I don't know where it came from. It was just like a guy with a barcode and a plague doctor mask. Yeah, that's it. I have no idea where I was going with that. This was the original sketch for my cyberpunk girl. I did my cyberpunk girl in traditional watercolor and gouache, and I didn't like it because I didn't get the aesthetic I wanted to go for. So then I started redoing it digitally. It was one of the very first line arts I did with the tablet when I got the tablet. And it's been stuck in my projects for a long time now. See, this is back in 2021. It is almost the end of 2025. 4 years ago. So again, I don't know if I should just move on from the cyberpunk stuff. I like cyberpunk stuff a lot. I just haven't drawn it much. Because people don't tend to really like my cyberpunk art. They like my like fantasy, whimsical elf characters. This is an idea I had for like a sticker where it's like the heart overlay is supposed to represent like rose-colored glasses. I know you won't know that by looking at it. Or maybe blinded by love. Crying with liar tattoo. It's a reflection on some more personal projects I worked on that I don't feel comfortable making public. This is okay. I'm okay talking about. It doesn't make sense if you have no context. I don't think it makes sense. So I think it's just kind of worth moving on from there. A thing about sketchbooks that a lot of people don't really think about is you can use your sketchbook as a notebook or as a planner. So I use this sketchbook a lot to plan out like the backing cards for the pins, writing down how many pins I wanted, writing down ideas. This was a more recent one. You can see here. It was January of this year. I debated doing more clay pens. I have had issues with making clay pens. If I were to make them again, I would not do 3-dimensional shapes. I would probably do like a circle or a square with a little painting on it. And that'd be it. I have found a better way to make clay mushroom ornaments. So I plan on making clay mushroom ornaments for this holiday season. This was when I originally launched my Patreon, which, if you don't know, I do have a Patreon. I relaunched it a few months ago. And you can support me and my art, no pressure. Just watching and following and liking, sharing is plenty, and I appreciate it. But if you want like a monthly sticker, monthly print, early access, a lot of other fun stuff. I post a lot of more personal stuff on there too. More ideas, announcements, etc. Then you can join my Patreon and you can find it here. But this was the first attempt. It went on for a few months and then I got pregnant, so yeah. These are more fleshed out sketches of the tier images. I don't really have tier images right now. It's just sort of like cropped versions of other art, which is fine, but I don't know. I don't know if people care about what the tier images look like on Patreon. I think it's really cute and I like it when people do them, but it wouldn't really make or break it for me. You know what I mean? This was the original sketch of my red demon girl that everybody thought was Millie from Hell of a Boss. This is where it originally came from. Was supposed to be a Patreon tiered icon. And I made her full version. And this was, I was gonna call it Seraphim because fae, demon, angel, sort of the same theme, I guess. But I never expanded on that. And I do like angels and a variety of depictions of angels, and I do plan on working on more angel-like characters in the future. This was a girl I saw at a plant event, as I wrote here. I went to this carnivorous plant event last year, and as I was leaving, this girl was walking up the hill. She had on this black dress. She had a mushroom tattoo on her arm. I can just visualize it very clearly. She had her braids put in these space buns, and I just thought she was so cool and so pretty. This was a Patreon idea for Valentine's Day. I really liked the sketch. She's sitting on a heart and you can view her back, and she has like a bow and arrow. And I had this sketch in Procreate and I deleted it, and I regret doing that. We're going to talk about this piece. This is a sketch of a project I've done. This will be the 3rd time of doing it. I like to revisit older pieces, repaint them, redraw them, whatever. So this is more of a personal piece. The first one I did was just done in ink. I actually ended up selling it to somebody because they really liked it because of the 3rd eye. The second version I have, I'll post it here. And it's fine. It's when I started learning more about gouache. But looking back at it, I've decided I wanted to do it a 3rd time because I feel like I've improved since then. So this is just me working on the sketch for that. I do have this piece in Procreate. I just have to transfer it. And the thing is, it's going to be a large piece. And I'm working on a large piece right now, and it's taking everything in me to like not give up and throw it away because I'm so comfortable working on 8x10. So 10x14 is a lot different, but this would be a larger painting. And once I start working on it again officially, then I can share what this means and represents. That's just a sketch for this piece I did for Send Me Across the Sea. It's a yearly show over in California. This was a Patreon painting I did. I do have this as a sticker now, as a seasonal piece for Valentine's Day. And this is probably, next year is probably gonna be the last year I have it before I retire it. I do like the composition of it, but I'm just sort of ready to move on and come up with another Valentine themed sticker design. Now here is how my character, the face of Flossy Arts, was created. This was the very first sketch. I had her face without the hat. I wanted to focus on how her hair worked. And then I started doodling here. You can see the red pencil. This is what I transferred to the painting that you all know, my icon. This was something I drew after this to get a better sense of how her outfit would work. Yeah, I had torn this out and transferred it and put it back in, so that's why it's kind of loose. And this was my inky cap girl. This was her original idea. This is what she looks like now. I did her in alcohol markers. This is a sketch I did for a commission. More commission sketches. If I was to redo this, I would not do this outfit. This was a pain in the ass. I do not recommend. Do something different. Don't do this. It's horrible. This was just some display ideas for me expanding my booth setup. This is a poison ivy sketch. I realized at this time that I had never drawn or painted poison ivy besides designing my outfit. So here is when I wanted to actually paint her. So I started sketching out a few ideas and I couldn't quite get the right pose. This was the more elaborate sketch of the inky cap girl. This is a more detailed face sketch of that girl I saw at the plant event. And this is what her tattoo looked like on her arm. This is the sketch of the Foxglove girl when I had originally done it. And this is the newer version of it. So what I did basically, I really liked this sketch. This was before I really got the hang of transferring onto paper from the sketch. And so I had redrawn her on a separate piece of paper. I wasn't happy with the redraw because I like how this sketch looks, right? So I took the old painting, dropped it in Procreate, and also got some inspiration from the original sketch, and I've come up with the final design. I haven't transferred her yet, but I will, and I will be painting her soon. This was one of the 2 mushrooms I did for Funguary. I don't know what year. It was probably 2022 or 2023. I can't remember. It was a while ago though, and I do have a YouTube video showing me working on this. This was a colored rough sketch of poison ivy. I drew down what I had as an idea originally. And then this is when I got a Bravo pen and doodled on this page to try it out. I'm not crazy about it. I do use it to write with, but not really for art. Maybe in my sketchbook sometimes, but that's really it. These were some more Patreon ideas, clay pen ideas. This was a concept I had. I was going to do a Pixie Patron stamp-like sticker, and I liked this version more. I actually was inspired by the Make Art Not War poster. Here are some more sketches for poison ivy. You can see how rough they are. I use this sketchbook in particular for really rough drawings, rough ideas. So something you may have noticed, I will have worked on one thing and then go back to a blank side and work on it later. So this was from like January, February of this year. And I did only one idea that I drew down. I really like the Devil's Cigar and the Red Cage Stinkhorn. This is Ellie from The Last of Us. The actor Bella Ramsey, I believe it's Bella Ramsey, they were under scrutiny just for their appearance. So I sketched the character with, Bella Ramsey's portrayal of her. And I wanted to get their features pretty correct. So it's like a Ellie / Bella Ramsey study. This was when I finally got an idea of Poison Ivy's pose, because I had been trying to find the perfect pose for a while at this point, and then Megan Thee Stallion came out with this photo shoot she did, and she had this specific pose, and I thought it was perfect. That is what I want for Poison Ivy. So thank you, Megan Thee Stallion, for giving me the inspiration to finally draw and paint Poison Ivy, and that's the Poison Ivy piece you see now. And this was a more refined pose. This is a very rough sketch of my Crystal Witch redo. This is another rough sketch, but more of a better idea of what I wanted the pose to be exactly, and now you see how it translates as the painting. It may look weird here to you, but in my head it makes sense. This was a draw this in your style. At this point I had taken a bit of a break and I wanted to get back into painting. So I did this draw this in your style by Isa B, and I did it with Copic multi-liners and some watercolor, and I did a very simple shading. These are some sketches of Stalking from Panty and Stocking. And these are some mushroom house sketches I did. I wanted to do a sort of series. I have the one design of a mushroom house, and I wanted to do 2 more to sort of complete the set. I wanted to do an inky cap, make it look a little bit more gothic, but I just felt like I couldn't really execute it correctly. And then I have like a Hobbit inspired one. I like this idea a lot more. I just need a 3rd idea before I can move on. I would like to do them for Halloween, but I also would like to do maybe some Baba Yaga houses, or maybe something inspired by a Baba Yaga house. I don't know. Some more Panty and Stocking sketches. I had wanted to do these for AWA of 2023. I didn't finish them in time because I was pregnant, so I didn't really have that much energy. If you know, you know. That's all I'm gonna say. This is more what I was thinking for the inky cap house. It made more sense, but still not super happy with it. This was a sketch of my succubus character redo, and I like her traditionally. I did her digitally, but I was not crazy about it. I liked how her hair turned out, and that was really it. But I just feel like she needs to be traditional. But I've been feeling that way a lot lately, where I think I want to do something digital, it doesn't quite get the feel I want, and then I want to do it again in traditional. But I think my heart is just with watercolor. This is more of a fuller sketch of the Hobbit inspired house. Like I said, I like this one a lot more than the inky cap, so I may elaborate on that, make something similar. Maybe a pumpkin one, I don't know. I wanted to do mushroom houses, but I've been feeling not a mushroom house, but a pumpkin house, especially if I'm gonna be making them for the fall. And I don't really have much time because it's August now, so I gotta get going. Booth ideas, pretty simple now looking back at it. These are tarot card sketches. So this is what I was going to do for the Send Me Across the Sea. I was going to do 8, I think. 8 or 10. Anyway, I really liked the sketches. I liked how they were pretty simple, straightforward, but I got nervous because I see a lot of people's versions of tarot card designs, and I felt like maybe mine aren't going to be good enough. I don't know. But I've spoken with Sydney from Sacred Sparrow recently, and I told her about this idea, and she thought it was great. She recommended that I do an oracle deck. So apparently tarot cards have a certain number, like 70 something or 80 something. I'm like, well, that's a lot. I can't do that many designs. Maybe one day, but not now. But then she said that oracle decks, you can have your own amount and each card can mean something to you. So I thought maybe in the future I'd like to do an oracle deck for Sacred Sparrow, like a collaboration of sorts. This was the first sketch for my Harley Quinn, and I do have her final sketch in Procreate. I just haven't transferred her in a little bit, a little bit nervous because it's Harley Quinn. Like, I feel like a lot of people have their opinions on her design because that's what I've seen lately on Twitter. It's like up for discussion a lot of times, and I just don't want to offend anybody. I'm pretty sure I will. That's the thing with art and drawing your own version of something. Somebody's gonna get offended, somebody's not gonna like it, and that's fine, as long as you like it. This is sort of the outfit I stuck with. I wanted it to be like a mix of her newer design and also from Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. These were sketches for what I finally decided on last year, Send Me Across the Sea. I ended up doing this one, but not with the eyes coming out of it. This was an attempt to do some mushroom studies, and then I decided to just draw an eyeball on it, and then I felt like drawing this pinup demon girl. This is a nose study I did because I realized a lot of my noses were looking very similar. So I just looked up a bunch of references from like different actors, different people of different ethnicities, and practiced with noses. And I was very happy with how it turned out. This was a failed Jinx sketch. I just stopped because I wasn't happy. This is a sketch for Karen Yumi Lusted. I feel like I'm mispronouncing her name wrong. Her name is Karen. She's a wonderful, talented artist. And I did her Draw This in Your Style piece, and it took me a year to do, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. It's a beautiful character. This was a Draw This in Your Style by Aubrie K, another talented artist. I never finished it, and I'm very sad because I really loved the initial sketch. It's a little pumpkin sketch, and here's a more fleshed out pumpkin sketch. This is for my mom. I started working on it, and I stopped last year. I should probably finish it this year because, you know, fall's coming up. This is a more put together Jinx study sketch thing. I wasn't too happy with the shape of her face. I just felt like there's something off. She doesn't look quite like Jinx, but then I drew like her eyes and her lips separate, and I'm like, that looks like Jinx. I just need to study her some more. Here are some peach blossom sketches I did. This was me trying to plan out funguary this year, which is very cute looking back because I did one. This was a mermaid sketch I did as a warm-up. I did a mermaid piece for the Goblin Market this year, which was back in March, I believe, and it was under the sea. That was the theme. So I wanted to do a lot of underwater things, sea creatures, and I only ended up doing, well, not this one, but I ended up doing just one mermaid. And I really love whale sharks. I also have this sketch in another book of octopi, and they're with alcohol marker, and they're really cute. I just never finished them. These were some little bee sketches. I really like bees. I started doing more bugs and stuff, like more moths. Butterfly stages. This was for a project I had offered to a certain business, and they decided to go with AI instead, so I feel a little bit bitter about that, but that's fine. I'll still do a sticker sheet or stickers of butterflies because I love butterflies. But yeah, it was not great. This is what I was mentioning earlier with the clay pens. Instead of having like a shaped pen, I would do like a circle or a square and paint a design on it. And I was just gonna do something like flowers and greenery and stuff. Maybe a strawberry or some bugs. I was filling up space at the time. I really like a fern motif. I really like that design. This was me just filling a page because it's to be continued. The end. I finished this in February this year. It is now August, but that is the end of the sketchbook that took me 8 years to do. Do I recommend spending 8 years filling a sketchbook? No, I do not. I do not recommend that, actually. Unless it's like a really thick sketchbook and you're very consistent practicing. This is sort of all over the place, and it's hard to see much progress just because of all the gaps in it. I mean, it's fine. There's a lot of memories with this book, but yeah, no, I now with the sketchbook, I want to sort of finish it within a year or so. I have some moleskines, whatever you call them, that I'm trying to, go through really fast because I do not like those sketchbooks. Just my personal opinion. But that will be the next sketchbook tour. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you learned something. You learned something more about me, I'm sure. And yeah, I hope this has inspired you. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your favorite sketch. Tell me your least favorite sketch. That's a little switcheroo. Tell me your least favorite sketch. I'm very curious. Anyway, have a wonderful day. Bye.